Will New Orleans Public High School students be ready for the 70,000 high-wage, high-demand jobs coming to our region over the next 10 years? Find out what's happening to expose students to the opportunities and prepare them for success in skilled crafts, digital media, IT, and health sciences. NOLA Career Expo webcast streaming at WYES.org, and it's made possible by Baptist Community Ministries. And we are looking live at the floor of the Senator Nat G. Kiefer University of New Orleans Lakefront Arena. It is transformed today, as you can see, from a place for sports and entertainment to an exploration zone for students to envision their career futures. 2,400 high school sophomores from 19 New Orleans public schools have the chance to interact today with the leaders of 75 companies and institutions of higher learning and training providers. The leaders are manning career stations all over the floor, as well as during our webcast all around the arena, to expose students to the high-wage, high-demand jobs in three hot sectors: health sciences, digital media and IT, and skilled crafts. This is the second year for the YouthForce NOLA Career Expo. It's an effort of YouthForce NOLA, presented by Junior Achievement of Greater New Orleans and Greater New Orleans, Inc. And with us, our first guest today is the president of YouthForce NOLA, Kate Swinburne. And I want to welcome Kate, and let me introduce myself too, I guess I should. I'm Marcia Kavanaugh. I am the Community Projects Producer for WYES. Kate, I'm so glad you're here to join us for this.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm really excited that we're here too. I mean, this is just such a great effort to acquaint kids with what perhaps they could do with their lives. And that's what YouthForce NOLA is all about.
Right.
So first, why don't you give us a background of YouthForce NOLA?
Yeah, absolutely. So YouthForce NOLA was founded in 2015 by a steering committee of really terrific community partners here in New Orleans. We have 12 organizations on our steering committee: the school districts, the United Way, the two economic development organizations, our regional, GNO Inc., our city, New Orleans Business Alliance, then the city of New Orleans, of course, and just a really wonderful set of partners, all committed to saying, what do we got to do to help make sure that our high school students, our graduates, are poised and prepared to be economically successful? You know, we all say we want our young people to have life success, and when you really boil it down, what does it mean to be successful in life? We want our young people to be happy, and we want them to be thriving economically. And in order to get them there, we want to help them get good jobs. And so with that, let's make sure they know about the good jobs. Let's make sure they have the skills and relationships to get those good jobs and advance in those good jobs. And so that's the premise of YouthForce NOLA. We work with schools and employers and training provider partners to really make sure our kids have everything they need so they can get good jobs and advance in good jobs.
You mentioned a real key word: graduate.
Yes.
I mean, that has been the effort not only here in the state of Louisiana and the region of New Orleans, but across the country, to improve the nation's graduation rate. And
absolutely.
with that, you have to have the student engaged in just attaining knowledge.
Yes.
And also seeing relevancy. That's what we're hearing
Absolutely.
from kids all the time.
Yes.
So that's what you guys are focusing on also, particularly since you're looking at this region right now.
Yes.
Explain a little bit about these key areas that you're directing students to learn more about.
Yeah, absolutely. So the City of New Orleans and New Orleans Business Alliance in 2012 published Prosperity NOLA, which was the plan for New Orleans' continued economic revitalization. And in that plan, they laid out what are going to be our sustaining industries and our emerging industries. And so with that, we took Prosperity NOLA's framework and we took that blueprint and we said, where are the places where we can really get high school students to connect and build training opportunities and build connections? So we boil it down to three major industry clusters: health sciences, IT, and skilled crafts. And those are really clusters that then you have industries and skills within them. So skilled crafts in particular, to drill down there, we've got construction, architecture, engineering, advanced manufacturing. Louisiana has a $60 billion coastal restoration plan, and we are gonna need some skilled workers to make that plan happen. And so huge job opportunities there, and really, a fabulous opportunity for our students.
Certainly in the coastal region, because it is a growing, it's a new industry.
Yes.
And just, new ideas are surfacing all the time to help us in our battle to save the coast. We got some video of some of the students arriving and starting to walk around
cool.
and seeing some of the presenters, seeing what they can see. Give you,
Yeah,
you guys
great.
who are watching also an idea of what the students are experiencing.
Yeah, those look like students from Sci-Hi, New Orleans Charter Science
think
and Math.
they
I recognize
are.
that blue and gray.
Yeah, they were among the first. And so they're walking around the mezzanine and there are different companies and industry representatives set up around here.
Yep.
And kids can stop and talk and learn more about the different areas of, like you say, digital IT.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I want you to explain, Kate, before we lose you.
Yeah.
What is the internship program? Because this is something we're acquainting kids here with what they could potentially get involved in for their lifetime career.
Yeah.
But also for, while they're still in high school
Right.
seniors, internships.
Right. Yeah, so the Career Expo is really one of the capstone experiences of the YouthForce NOLA, the entire YouthForce NOLA continuum. If we want our students to graduate filled with choices, filled with an understanding and skills to be successful in their post-secondary education pathways, we believe that they need to know what the options are, and that's what the Career Expo really represents, is an opportunity to really touch and feel a lot of different opportunities. We also then want to make sure that they have the opportunity to take their skills and build their relationships in actual places of work. And so the YouthForce NOLA internship program is the capstone experience that we offer to rising seniors and high school seniors from across New Orleans. And in that, it's a 150-hour program. They get 60 hours of training, 90 hours of placement. So many of the employers you see represented down on the floor and outside, we place interns in those companies. So Auctioner, for example, they've got 6 tables outside representing all their different hospitals and their different career opportunities. And I think this summer we're aiming to have them host something like 20 interns. So this is really, it's very connected, and we really want students to build on their skills and their networks.
And so you work with the employer also, where you guys actually pay for the internship. You assist the employer.
Well, the
in that
wonderful
way?
thing is the City of New Orleans has committed to YouthForce NOLA through 2020. We executed a collaborative endeavor agreement for $1.1 million through 2020. So the City of New Orleans helps fund the stipends that are paid to the interns. So the students are paid for their time in the internship program, and then YouthForce NOLA raises philanthropy to cover costs of the training and the case management, because we do really support the students end to end to make sure they have a really successful experience.
So if there's an employer out there or a potential
Absolutely.
supporter
Yes.
of YouthForce NOLA, just go to your website.
Please go to our
and find out.
website, youthforcenola.org, and there's lots of opportunities there to plug in.
All right, Kate, it's been
Yeah.
great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you so
and
much.
thank you so much for inviting us to be here to let the community know about what you guys are doing and what's going on here for our students.
Huge opportunities for our kids, and we're so glad you all are here.
Okay, thanks a lot, Kate.
Thank you.
Well, a little bit earlier today, we caught up with the Louisiana Superintendent of Education, John White, who was here a little bit earlier. He spoke at a breakfast. And so he sort of shared his ideas about why something like this, and presenting the opportunities to students out there, why he feels it's so important.
Superintendent would like to tell us about the importance of YouthForce NOLA and this Career Expo today.
Well, giving kids exposure to the workplace is an essential part of their education, and an essential part of education is making sure kids are equipped for jobs. We have to connect education to the workplace, and we've got to make sure that our school system is a source of economic opportunity for our kids. YouthForce stands for that, and they're doing a wonderful job of connecting schools to employers.
What do you think the students are going to learn today about the potential for their future?
Well, for kids, they may see what their mom does or what their dad does or what their grandparents do, but it's a hard thing to understand the full range of industries, and it's too hard a thing for an individual school to provide a student with all of that exposure. At a Career Expo, like we're seeing today at the University of New Orleans with YouthForce NOLA, you can actually give kids exposure to all of these industries. You can have them actually talk to people who live and work in the industry and give them a sense of inspiration and excitement about what the possibilities in their lives are after high school.
Could we get an update on how Jumpstart is doing statewide?
Jumpstart's changed the face of education in Louisiana. We've gone from 1% of our kids graduating because of their industry-based education to 25% of seniors graduate because of a career-based education. That means we've gone from 14,000 industry-based credentials to nearly 50,000 industry-based credentials that we issue every year in Louisiana. That's going to lead to more prosperity, continued education after high school, and a real connection to the workplace for our graduates.
Okay, well, New Orleans certainly is a hotspot for digital media and technology. We hear about new companies, new talent coming to town to start up these new companies. It's certainly a growing field, and it's something that that these students who are here could maybe be thinking about for a future, because it's a really good future. And I have with me right now Robert Warren, who is with Gigsy.
That's it.
Which is, how long have you guys been in business here now?
So we've been in existence now for just about 3 years.
About 3 years. So, so first off, why don't you explain exactly what is Gigsy and what does it do?
That's the question. So we're a mission-led organization whose vision is to create media for everyone and media with everyone, which really in practice means that we do two things. The first thing that we do is we want to create really excellent client-centered multimedia. So we all know technology is changing, and no longer do you need $30,000 worth of gear and an advanced degree just to operate a camera. And so what we're doing is we're providing content to folks in a way that's accessible at an actual reasonable price point.
So you're watching, well, you're a young person, so you haven't watched as much as the folks around here have, because we're a lot older than you, how all of this media technology has changed.
That's it.
So you're here at YouthForce NOLA, and you're one of the participants. You're talking to students out there about, what perhaps they should be thinking about. What are you advising students to do as they move through their high school career, if they're thinking about getting into this field?
Excellent. So I have the good fortune of having started my career in New Orleans as an educator. So it's really let us organizationally be a lot more empathetic with just the experience of a young person in the city. The great thing about what we're doing, particularly with digital storytelling, is that it's so much more based on the merits that you bring to what it is, as opposed to some sort of advanced degree or needing some basic college degree. So it's super accessible.
Is it something that you would encourage students to try to get involved in, so that they can really be hands-on and actually go into the field, working perhaps side by side, or just observing somebody working in the field? And if you do advise them to do that, how would you recommend they do it?
That's a great question. So this is absolutely a field where expertise counts. We think of multimedia creation in a lot of the ways that folks might think about HVAC or plumbing, where it's important to get that apprenticeship in to really understand what the intricacies of the field look like. The best way to do it is really just to get online, get on the internet, find folks who are doing it, and just give them a call. Putting your best foot forward really counts, and putting an earnest effort in really counts, and being willing to put in the hard work to really learn.
Is this a field that you would recommend others get into? I mean, do you like it? Do you like what you do?
Oh, we love it. We have the greatest job on earth. We get to wake up in the morning and go celebrate the work that other people do and celebrate what they do best. It's really our job to help people tell their stories. So every day we get to meet folks who are doing incredible work all over the city and even out of the city, and we get to celebrate what they do through helping them tell their stories in still frame or through video.
There's no shortage of stories in the city of New Orleans.
Absolutely not.
And a real true New Orleanian is certainly not reluctant to tell their stories. You can get to know somebody's life story when you're in the elevator with them.
That's
People
it.
here are just so friendly. When you're talking to students, what are they asking you? What are they inquiring about? What do they want to know, do you find?
What's really striking with young folks is that the young folks that are now in high school are incredibly practical. And they seem to have found this really fine balance between the idealism of being young folks in high school with the practicalities of understanding what's going to be out there as soon as they graduate. So they're asking fantastic questions. What kind of degree do I need coming into this? What is the average day like when I'm working? What can I make when I come out? And these are fantastic questions that young folks are presenting us with.
They're trying to figure out what they're going to do with their career.
Precisely.
They want to choose that pathway, don't they?
They do.
And then this is what something like this, YouthForce NOLA, helps those students do, is just to sort of get more knowledge so they can make a better decision for themselves.
Yes.
You said you were an educator.
I was.
Were you elementary, high school?
I was secondary. I taught
Secondary?
9th grade English over on the West Bank.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So then you decided to go ahead and be a businessman. What prompted you to do that?
What I learned through education is that I had a passion for working with young folks, but I also learned that I wasn't going to be a career educator. And we feel so lucky to have made connections with the folks at YouthForce, because we really know that workforce development is such an important key to creating sustainable skills and sustainable wealth in our community. At the end of the day, we want to drive change and improve outcomes in a city that we care so much about. And the way that we know that we can do it is by adding value, by helping people tell their stories, by growing a company, by doing the best that we can every single day, and then by creating jobs that allow folks to self-empower. And this is where I really think that the city of New Orleans is particularly ahead of the curve in having this very startup mentality in the workforce development space, where there's so many folks willing to come to the table and say, listen, it's important that we're teaching our younger folks, our high school students, not just about the hard skills and that you have to just go pump through college and take on hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, which is a very important decision for young folks to be making, especially nowadays. I think it's just so great that we have these opportunities that are abounding, where industries have come together and said, if you work hard and if you're willing to put in the effort with the right attitude, there are a lot of other ways to succeed.
Terrific. Well, you're still the educator, Robert, you know.
That's it.
Thanks so much for joining
It's
us.
such a
It's a pleasure meeting you. Good luck with your business.
Thank you so
Gigsy,
much.
Gigsy, right?
Gigsy.
Okay, thanks so much, and thanks for being here at YouthForce NOLA.
Our pleasure.
All right. Well, right now we're going to take a look at some of the action going on here at the arena. Earlier this morning, the students from Sci-High checked out the Delgado Pharmacy Career Station. So let's take a look, see what they learned.
We are representing the pharmacy technician program at Delgado. So pharmacy technician is an expanding field with lots of opportunities, and it's great for young people to get in and see what the field of pharmacy is like. So what kind of questions might you have?
I wanted to know what's a pharmacy technician?
So a pharmacy technician is the person who works along with a pharmacist. So if you walked into Walgreens, you probably see them behind the counter, or Walmart, or any of your pharmacies. But we also work in a hospital. So we do dispensing. So over here we have our counting trays, and you guys can actually try to use a counting tray if you like. So this is our equipment. So this is a spatula, and you open up your tablets or your capsules. And what we do is we count by 5. Oops, so we don't need that. So you're going to take it, and you're going to use your spatula, and you're going to count off 5 of them, and you're going to push them into that trough. Okay, try 5 more. So we count by 5. So usually we scoop them up in a group of 5. So when we're counting, usually we dispense 30, 60. It's easy to count by 5s, right? All right. Now if you don't want all of them in there, you're going to close that up. And you're going to be able to pick up the tray and pour those remainder back into the bottle without ever touching them. Okay? Then you're going to take your bottle and you're going to close that up. Yep.
Like a funnel, right?
Yep, exactly like a funnel. So that's how we would do dispensing. But we actually enter the orders. So we have software that we teach the students. This is very much used in some of the pharmacies around town. So it's realistic. So we teach them all about the retail dispensing side, including compounding, where we actually manufacture or compound a medication. And then we also have the hospital side, where we teach students how to make IVs. So a lot of people don't realize that technicians work in hospitals, and if somebody you know has ever had an IV, a technician probably made it. We even do chemotherapy and specialty areas.
What do you mean by make IVs?
Like I take medication, could be in a powder form, and I would add what's called a diluent, and I would make it into a liquid form, and then I would draw it up into a syringe, whoops, and I would inject it into an IV bag, and that's how they would receive their medicine.
So how does one become a pharmacy technician?
Well, Delgado has a 1-year program, so it takes some prerequisites. You have to be good in math, you need good critical thinking skills, and we cover law and ethics, things that are related to pharmacy, communications, anatomy and physiology, pharmacology, and we learn about the drugs. They're important, right? I always say drugs are my life. So learning about the drug names and how they work in the body. because we can help the pharmacists with our education screen the information for the pharmacist and bring things to their attention so that they don't have to do all of it themselves. So it's about patient safety. Our program also has clinical rotations, both in the community and in the hospital setting, so the students get to get experience. Plus, we prepare the students for the National Certification Exam, which is required by the State Board of Pharmacy in Louisiana. And we have a 97% pass rate on that exam. So our students are pretty well prepared to go out. Several of my graduates have gone on to Xavier or other pharmacy schools. I have 6 of my graduates who are now pharmacists. So they said, one of them said, I never even thought of pharmacy till I came to your program. And now she's a very accomplished pharmacist.
What made you choose, like, being a
Pharmacy technician?
over like a regular pharmacist?
My story is long and varied, but you know, I like that when I go home at the end of the day, when I've done my best, I know I've done good. I know that I've helped people. And I like that the flexibility. I was on a pharmacy track to go to pharmacy school, and I started as a tech, and I was like, you know what, I'm happy here. And then I started teaching. So that's another opportunity for pharmacy technicians that they don't think about. And we have a whole network of educators throughout the United States that work together to help make the programs better and stronger.
Oh, all right. We were looking at maybe some future workers in the health sciences field. With me right now is Hope Owens. She's the Learning and Organizational Development Counselor for LCMC Health.
Yes.
That's Louisiana Children's, right?
Medical
Center.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, welcome. It's good to see you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So tell us then, you're the Organizational Development Counselor, exactly what it is that you do with LCMC.
Organizational development, we have quite a few things under our belt. One of them is the continued learning of our current employees, but part of that as well is workforce development. What can we do to not only educate and invest in the professional development of our current employees, but invest in our future employees? How can we make sure that people are aware of all of the healthcare opportunities that we have, and how can we direct them to some of our high need occupations?
So you're here participating in YouthForce NOLA. You're talking to students as they come up to you. What kind of questions do the students generally present to you in terms of the healthcare field?
A lot of them came up and what is it that you do? A lot of people know about nursing and doctors, but don't know about all the other fields that you have available within the healthcare industry. So a lot of it was, what are you do? You know, what do you do? How much does this job make? How much schooling does this take? All of those are considerations, I'm sure.
And it does take schooling to train to be a healthcare professional. So let's talk about some of these areas. First, you mentioned nursing. We always hear that nurses are in need.
Yes, I looked at it this morning and there's well over 80 nursing positions available within the LCMC Health Organization right now. So that is always a need, it always will be a need. It's something that we're always going to look for and be recruiting for and have at events like this to make sure that kids know the opportunities available.
So are there like different levels of nursing, like licensed practical nurse as opposed to an RN?
Absolutely,
Can
yes.
you explain that
so
difference?
Licensed practical nurse is an associate's degree. They're used mainly in clinics, doctor's offices, and then you have your RN, which you can have as an associate's degree, but most hospitals are pushing for a bachelor's degree in science for nursing. And so they're looking for that, and then the next step up from that is a nurse practitioner. And so they're really pushing right now, a lot of the RNs are going back to school to obtain their master's and become a nurse practitioner. So you do have quite a bit of career advancement ahead of you if you start off in nursing.
Certainly nurse practitioner is a position that seems to be growing more and more of a need for that. So let's talk about some other fields. We just saw the pharmacy students. That's certainly an area that you can, the students finding out about pharmacy, even Delgado pharmacy, that's an area that students could
And it's one that we're always looking for as well. I looked this morning again and there was about 20 positions available for different pharmacy jobs within the LCMC health system. So starting with pharmacy tech, going up through pharmacist and some supervisors. Right now with so many electronic medical records, you have the pharmacist who also needs to work on the computer side to make sure that the computer systems are working properly. And so just within pharmacy, you have quite a few avenues that you can go once you have that degree.
And then, of course, we need lab workers.
We absolutely need lab workers. That is a huge demand right now, but we even see into the future it's going to be even bigger. So in the lab, those are the people from the phlebotomists who take your blood, to the ones who prepare the specimens, to the ones who run the testing afterwards. We have a huge shortage. And what can we do to educate our young people that this is a very good career to get into? Not only is it good wages, but because of the demand, you'll be able to go anywhere across the country and really be able to find a position within a healthcare organization.
So many other fields too, such as radiology.
Yes, radiology. We need ultrasound techs, we need MRI techs, CT techs. And I know Delgado has a good school for that right here locally.
Right.
And even with that, we still need more.
And then therapy, physical therapists, occupational therapists.
Absolutely.
It's just so wide ranging.
Absolutely. There's so many positions available within the healthcare industry that a lot of people just don't realize.
And so how do you guys encourage students to think about these fields? Because as we said, it does take educational training and background. What do you do to get them interested?
What do we do? So it's things like this where we can bring them in and do a hands-on thing. So a lot of our representatives today brought mannequins with them so they can show what CPR looks like and give them something hands-on. Our pharmacist came with some demos of things that kids can see. What does it look like in a pharmacy setting? I know rehab, when we've done not only this, but we'll bring high school students into the hospital and give them tours of different areas, which is great because then they can actually see the equipment and do things. And so rehab always has something fun for them to do, something hands-on. With radiology, it's, do you like to take pictures? That's basically what a radiologist does.
Right.
You take a lot of pictures. And so it's just finding ways to relate the medical with things that you're already interested in.
So what kind of hands-on exercises do you guys have here? Do you have any sort of mannequins or something to learn CPR? What are the students doing here?
CPR, yes, that's a big one. They have CPR mannequins out there right now. Pharmacy has a display with different antibiotic names. It's Antibiotic Awareness Month, and so they decided to talk about that as well. And then we have Set an Impact from UMC. They have a whole display out there of what is it like to drive while intoxicated or while texting. Because that might not be a career, but our nurses have to take care of the people who do that. And so just showing them kind of the wide circle of these are the issues and this is why we need medical professionals to help take care.
Is Bridget Gardner still working with that? She was Bridget Gardner, she
Yes.
was RN. She's
Yes.
terrific. She's terrific in getting that message out to kids. She's
And
a
so
wonderful
she's the
nurse.
one who coordinated our Set an Impact here.
Will you tell Bridget hi for me?
Will do.
Okay. Thanks so much, Hope, for
Thank
being
you,
here.
Marcia.
And if anybody has any information, they can just get in touch with you through
Absolutely.
Hope Owens, through LCMC, to find
Correct.
out perhaps how students can get more involved in and interested in the healthcare
That would be
field.
great.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank
Pleasure
you,
meeting
Marcia.
you.
You too.
Thanks so much for joining us here.
Thanks.
Well, Junior Achievement of Greater New Orleans is a presenter of YouthForce NOLA Career Expo along with Greater New Orleans Inc. And right now we're going to be talking with Larry Washington, who is the president of Junior Achievement of Greater New Orleans. And as Larry comes to the table to join us, we're taking a look at what's happening on the floor. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background, but every now and then you hear hammering, etc., because that's the skilled craft. Students are actually getting a big hands-on approach with potential fields that they could perhaps be interested in. So these are all sophomores who come to this event. And it just sort of gives them an idea as they progress through high school what perhaps they could do. And then by the time they're seniors, perhaps maybe they could get involved with one of those internships that Kate Swinburne with YouthForce NOLA was talking to us about a little while ago. So that's what this is all about. It's just trying to get students to understand what is possible out there. What sort of job opportunities are possible? Okay, I have Larry sitting next to me now. Larry Washington, president of Junior Achievement of Greater New Orleans. Thank you. Now you guys are presenting all of this along with YouthForce NOLA. tell me, why did you all join forces to start this expo?
One, I think the easy answer is that it was necessary. When we think about all the jobs that we know that will become available here in this region, we've got to find a way to prepare young people. And the first step in that preparation is exposure. And this is a great opportunity to expose them to careers that otherwise they wouldn't even know are available here in this region.
So tell us about junior achievement. What is it involved in here in New Orleans?
Well, junior achievement, we do so many, I believe, wonderful and great things in the city. This year we're going to reach about 37,000 young people. The bulk of that happens inside of the classroom in a 13 parish region. We focus primarily on financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship. And we do that with the help of almost 1,500 volunteers, both in experiences like the one we're seeing today, and as I mentioned before, with hands-on learning inside of classrooms each and every day.
Right, so it is learning outside of the classroom indeed.
Absolutely.
What challenges, perhaps, do you find you are meeting, and what the needs are to help students understand that staying in school is really an important thing to do, important for their future?
I love that question. One, I think we've got to do two things. We've got to change the attitudes and behaviors that young people have as it relates to education. For me, the best way to do that is to focus on outcomes, because I think we all understand outcomes. And this is a good representation of that. By looking at what the end result could be, meaning career, lifestyle choices, etc., when we focus on those things, I think it creates a certain value for education for young people that otherwise don't have it. And that starts to shift the way they behave about education. And I think making it relevant, making it something that is applicable to everyday life, helps young people establish that value for education as well. And then I think it becomes full circle from that point.
That seems to be what we hear from students, is like, well, what good does this do me? You know, they are thinking about their career paths. They want to know how that they can be a productive member of society. So what, with YouthForce NOLA, are you guys thinking about for the days, the weeks, the months, the years to come to help our students here?
Well, I think there are a couple of things, and I think YouthForce NOLA is definitely getting it right when it comes to young people. One, the Career Expo is a starting point. Beyond that, YouthForce NOLA offers internships for high school seniors. I know for me, that was a difference maker. When I had an opportunity to intern at a company, I got hands-on experience in a working environment, which changes your whole point of view and your perspective about what possibilities look like. So I think that's part of it. I think the next piece is, how do we develop those skills that are necessary no matter what profession that you go in? And a big focus for YouthForce NOLA, as well as junior achievement, is developing soft skills in young people.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Right, and I think any of us who work in professional environments understand the value in soft skills, and I think that probably is an overutilized term or word, but it's true. And I think that's the next big focus for YouthForce, the internships, this expo, and then how do we develop those necessary soft skills or transferable skills that kids need no matter what profession or career they go into.
So doing something like this and the other work that you do with JA, are you finding that kids are responding and accepting all of this guidance that's been offered to them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think once we put it in front of them and we open their eyes to the possibilities and what opportunities look like, they connect with it, and they connect with it in a powerful way. And I think if we continue to do that, we'll get great results. And I think we're finding interesting ways to engage with young people in all these different aspects. And I think the real benefit to an experience like the one we're having today is, one, it's interactive. And that's the easiest way to get young people to connect. Something that's interactive, that seems purposeful, and seems relevant. And I think that's happening. And I think that happens with a lot of the work that YouthForce NOLA does.
This is kind of a broad question, but in your interaction now with the young people, not just here, but and just every day through JA, what are they interested in terms of careers? What do you find that the most of the questions are about, would you say?
Oh wow, that's a
broad one.
That's a broad one. I would say when you talk to a lot of young people, I think healthcare careers are at the top of the list, because I think those are the type of careers that no matter what our walk in life is, we have some interaction or involvement with folks in healthcare. So I think that's a big one. And surprising to me, and it may look different for other folks having these conversations, I'm seeing lots of kids that are interested in jobs in engineering, which is different, is necessary, and I think I'm excited that we're starting to get young people interested. And I think that's because we put such a huge focus the past few years on making that connection with STEM careers. So just off the cuff, I would say those would be the top two that I hear young people talk about, beyond athletes and singers, et cetera. But when we talk about true careers, those are some of the ones I hear them talk about.
So this is the second year for this Career Expo.
Yes.
Are there plans to certainly continue at least this, but maybe even take it a little bit broader?
Absolutely. I think, one, the initial focus of YouthForce NOLA is on Orleans Parish, but we do understand the necessity to be regionally focused. And so I think as we build this out, it will become, we will incorporate more of the general New Orleans region. But Jay, as an organization, we do focus on 13 parishes up north from Washington, all the way down to St. Mary's and new for us, Assumption Parish. And so we definitely are thinking regionally, and I think as YouthForce NOLA broadens its scope, the very next step is going to be to incorporate more students throughout the region.
All right. Well, this is just already a very, very successful one, and I look forward to finding out more as you guys continue to grow with it, because it really is worthwhile.
Absolutely, we appreciate it.
And well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to come here to webcast this and bring it out to our community. We're happy to do so. And
thank you guys for sharing it. I think it's important that people understand the work that's happening and they find ways to get involved, whether it be through us, YouthForce NOLA. We all have a responsibility and obligation to these young people, and we appreciate you guys showcasing it.
Well, that's what we are. We're a community television station, so we want to continue to do stuff like this.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot. It's really a pleasure
meeting you.
Thank you so much.
You as well.
And good luck
Thank
with
you.
this. Okay. Well, among those different businesses or agencies here today to acquaint students with what perhaps they might get interested in as a career is the FBI. So let's hear what some of the students learned from them earlier.
Doing well. Sydney Reed, good to see you. All right. The first thing I want to bring to your attention is about the FBI internships. You're in school right now. At a certain point, you will choose to go off to college. So whatever college you choose, whatever state that might be, you still qualify to apply to the FBI internship. So I want to hand you this document. This document gives you a little bit of information regarding the FBI internship. Now, you will have to maintain at least a 3.0 grade point average and at least a 21 on the ACT to apply to the FBI internship as a first semester freshman wherever you choose to go to school. Now, when you look at the sheet picks up disciplines from the STEM to finance. In other words, whatever you choose to major in, you can come and explore the FBI internship. Now, it's a paid internship. Now, the internship is from June to August for the following year, but you would apply in August through September. Make sense? Okay, so whatever you choose to get into. Now, what I just read to you, gave you information relative for, is for a first semester freshman.
Yeah.
Because when you get to college, you won't have a college GPA. The FBI will use your high school credentials, ACT score, as well as GPA. Now, I want to hand you this. This gives you information relative to just the FBI employees in general. When you look at the employment for the FBI, you have two options. One option is professional staff, no gun, no badge. The other option is special agent with a gun and a badge. For you to qualify to apply for the FBI special agent, you will have to have at least a bachelor's degree in something. You will choose what that is. With that bachelor's degree, you also need 3 years of full-time work experience somewhere, and that will qualify you to apply for FBI special agent. Okay? Now, on the professional staff side, there are over 400 different professional staff job titles in the FBI. Okay? And that ranges from auto mechanics, nurses, psychologists, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, mathematicians, architects, scientists. There's the mission of the FBI is huge, and it takes a lot of different people, knowledge, skills, and abilities to support the mission of the FBI. You have any questions of me?
So, you're saying if I start off with a 3.0 in freshman year, then I'm eligible to be an FBI?
No, this is you graduating high school. So you graduating high school with your 3.0 grade point average and your ACT score that qualifies you to apply to the FBI internship when you first get to college as a first semester freshman.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And you get paid in the meantime. In the meantime.
Okay, right now I have with me one of the students who is going around and talking to all these different representatives of the different businesses and trades. Jabrielle Weston, you're a student at Morris Jeff, you tell me, and you're a freshman over there right now?
Yes, ma'am.
So you haven't had a chance to go down on the floor yet and take part in all the hammering that I'm hearing down there, but you have been able to walk around and you know, just see a lot. Well, let's talk about what have you learned so far? What have you seen? Who have you talked to?
I've seen a lot of familiar things. I've also met some professionals in the filming industry and also video editing. I mean, that's what I love. That's something that I want to go in as I get older and practice it while I'm younger.
So I understand there's a lot of representatives out there in the digital media and technical, and then you're sitting in it right now too, because we've got the cameras on you, and I'm so happy that you were able to join us so we can talk to a student about what something like this means. I mean, is it helpful to you to sort of be exposed to this?
Yeah, it's very helpful because you're able to go up to professionals and talk to them and tell them how their daily life is, and ask them how does it feel, and kind of get that feeling, and then you'll start getting used to it.
Yeah. So you think just sort of generally, students like you and all of your fellow students, you're just starting out right now. Well, you're wrapping up your freshman year, but you're into your high school years. What are your concerns? What are you all thinking about in terms of what you're going to do next?
Mostly thinking about I'm thinking about my college, which college I want to go to, even though it's, I'm still young, but I still want to know what college I'm going to, what programs to go into to help me, get used to college, and when I go in, it'll, flow through.
Mm-hmm. So you are really in the midst of gaining your education and experiencing it. You're there in a school here in the city of New Orleans. To you, what do you think is a good education? What would you advise to the teachers and to the principals, everybody out there? If you're going to educate kids, what is a good education?
A great education is, encouraging your students when you're in a classroom, like, when they're down, bring them up and like, you can do this. You can get this work done. I'll help you out, not just give them the work and not do anything about it. That's not encouraging or helpful.
So being exposed to and having an opportunity to maybe go into, because YouthForce NOLA does offer internships for seniors. Do you think that would be a very interesting thing for you to do? And could you really learn could it help you to help direct you on your career path, an experience like that,
yes,
an internship?
Yes, internship would be very helpful.
So the students too have to do their part too, though, but
yes,
by staying engaged in school and learning. So graduation is your goal from high school?
Yes, ma'am.
And beyond?
And beyond.
Okay, so the next one, maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, we'll see you behind the camera.
Yes, ma'am.
At the next YouthForce NOLA down the line. Okay, it's been great talking to you, Jabrielle. I really appreciate you coming to chat with us. Go enjoy yourself. Go have some fun down there.
You too.
Okay, thanks a lot. So some students a little bit earlier, because there are so many different things for them to see and do, they were very interested in a Delgado radiology display. Let's take a look at what they saw.
We take all the precautions that are necessary to make sure our patients are protected, as well as ourselves, because we spend a lot of time doing x-rays all day and procedures and things like that. So we are very mindful of the protection aspect of things, because radiation can be dangerous. Now, of course, the amount of radiation that we use is nowhere near what you find at like nuclear power plants, things like that. And that is where you hear more of the stories about but there's always a risk, but we do everything to make sure that we protect you as much as possible. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So what are you guys thinking career-wise? Any ideas yet?
I like culinary stuff.
You're going to be a chef,
Thinking either Radiology or like engineering of some sort.
Nice. Both good career paths.
Probably something
In media. Okay, it's definitely the way to go. It's very popular right now. Radiological technology? This reminds me of Stranger Things. Oh, no, we're not that off the chart. So I watched all those. I like those. But it's just good. The career is really good because you have a lot of options. When you are a tech, you can also do CAT scans and MRIs and nuclear medicine. A lot of people go into ultrasound. So there's a lot of pathways that you're offered once you become a tech. So it's a very in-demand profession right now. Everybody needs x-rays at some point.
Yeah.
And it sure is, like I said, sure is a lot better for us to be able to look what's going on inside without having to touch it open. So a lot safer for you in the long run.
What's a fluoroscope?
That is live x-ray. So we will put you on the table and we turn it on and we have a screen and we can see what's going on in your body right at that moment. It's pretty cool. You got a question?
Yes, like, what's the difference between like all these machines? Like, I understand that like the MRI and the CAT scan. Like,
right. Well, mammography and CAT scan and fluoroscopy and radiography all use x-ray, okay, ionizing radiation. MRI doesn't use any radiation. MRI uses a magnet. This big old thing is a huge magnet inside, and the magnet aligns the atoms of your body and allows them to look at the soft tissues. Like if you have like a meniscus tear, like a lot of the athletes have those injuries of their knees, the MRI will let you see if that little piece of tissue is torn or ruptured or anything like that. With a CAT scan and radiography, that is more, shows a better picture of your bones. So there's differences in the different modalities and what they're good at. So that's why you have a lot of choices. And again, you never have to cut you open, so that's cool.
That's
We're
good.
the background noise.
Good. Let's describe that.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear the hammering. I was just talking about hearing that hammering with the gentleman who is responsible for that career station down there, Adam Bourne, who is director of NOTEP. That is the New Orleans Technical Education Provider. You're also an electrical instructor. So
that's right.
Tell us, what do you guys do?
So we teach students in carpentry and electrical courses. So students come to us, they get what's called an NCCER credential. So it's the same thing you'd get at a junior college or a trade school. And so students come to us for a year. We bus them in from their high school and they work through the trade. So you can, when you saw the booth, there's an electrical wiring board down there. Students, we work through it with students, and then they get a drawing diagram, and they got to learn to do that all on their own. So they wire residential structures, they build residential structures, floors, walls, roof, doors, windows, the whole 9 yards.
So they become involved in learning this as they're still in high school,
That's
as
right.
they're a high school student?
Yeah.
So what year generally in high school do they have to be?
We love to take juniors. That's our best time. If we take a junior, then we're able to, they do that, they go do a YouthForce internship. After they finish the internship, they got their senior year, maybe we can do a great year-long internship, and now they've got a credential, a resume built, and we're ready to push them out to industry. But we train some sophomores, some seniors, but if a school plans ahead and we're able to get with them, we get juniors. That's really the best thing. Yeah.
So you say something that's really important there, that word credential. That's an
Yeah.
important thing to have. It's sort of like a certification, maybe. Is it an industry standard type of credential that
Industry
they get?
standard, that's the buzzword.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's industry standard. So that means that it's a credential that industry created and said this is what we want people to have, and so that's what we train. That's the basis for our curriculum.
And so that helps somebody get a job, and that's
Yeah,
you
that's
know
the
the
idea.
importance of it all, of education at any level and for any field is you want to get some worthwhile employment and things that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So what kind of trades and you know what sort of jobs are you guys preparing people for?
Yeah. So right now we teach carpentry and electrical. We're going to expand likely into welding starting a year from now, and then we're going to jump into a fourth trade even after that. We teach residential and we teach light commercial, and but the jobs that we're talking about, you see a lot of them here. Woodward's a partner of ours, Core is a partner of ours, Malone Electric, we're meeting with them, and so all those companies, that's who we're connecting with, and consistently we're connecting with more and more of those companies, and they're excited about hiring our grads. They're excited about having a pipeline to hire those students. So, and they're going in everything from They're getting hired in everything from residential electric to commercial forming for concrete. Some of our students have gone on, they get a basic safety credential in heavy equipment operating. Some of them have gone on to work in warehouses driving forklifts. So all across the board, even though we're just in the two trades, our students have done all kind of different stuff.
Because industry is looking for workforce. There's a need for workforce out there.
Yeah.
And that's what you're trying to meet.
That's right. Skills gap.
Yeah, definitely. So if somebody's interested in getting involved in having their son or daughter, or if a student is listening to this by any chance, how do they do that?
So we connect directly with schools. And so every school that we have is because somebody calls and says, our students heard about you, and so what do you do? And so we connect with the school, and so they enroll directly through the school. Because they go to school, their school puts them on the bus, they send them over to us. Their school pays the bills, so students don't pay anything. So that's what they do. They go to school and they tell their counselor, we want to go to NOTEP. And then their counselor reaches out to us and we put the pieces together.
So the industries, it seems like you guys are sort of working almost a little bit more in a coordinated fashion than perhaps in times past to get this need met for workforce development.
Yeah, that's right. That's the idea. That's the idea, is to ask them what they need and then train students to do those things.
All right, so did you participate in this Career Expo last year, or is this your first time?
We did not. Well, I was here last year, but in a different capacity. So this is NOTEP's first year to be here.
So YouthForce NOLA Career Expo, a worthwhile thing for kids, you think?
Absolutely. I mean, you can see students are building things, and we have I can't tell you how many girls have come up to our booth and said, can girls do this? And then we say, well, we'll see. And then they turn out a birdhouse, and it looks great. And they walk over to a wiring board, and we get to engage them. And so we may not have that conversation if we don't get this platform. And so absolutely.
And of course, girls can do that too.
Yeah, that's right. There's the good answer.
I thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure meeting you. Continue the good work with our future workforce members.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a look again at what's going on down there on the floor. You can see that the students are wandering around, and of course there are representatives from the various industries and trades down there talking to the students. Right now it's kind of gotten quiet. I don't hear any hammering going on, but there's a lot of activity with students milling around, learning. I think I'm starting to hear it again a little bit. Learning about these different areas in which they could ultimately work. These are the future members of our workforce, and they're learning firsthand about what they perhaps could do as their career to earn a good wage and be a productive member of the community. And you know what? They're also learning about how important it is to stay in school. This whole exercise here lets kids know about the relevancy of their education, that it can apply to a good future for them. And of course, working in tandem here are members of our business community, of our healthcare community, of the industries, different industries and the trades, working together to help our children, our students, in this region understand how important education is and how a good future does lie ahead. Alrighty, so now we will move on to Dr. Karen Thomas. I've been prattling away here. I haven't had a chance to say hello. Thanks so much for joining. Nice meeting you. And Dr. Karen Thomas is with the University of New Orleans. You're Associate Dean of STEM Outreach, Recruitment, and Retention. Now, STEM is something that we hear so much about. Explain, what is STEM?
Well, STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And it's essentially, we're seeing at a national level and then at an international level an increased interest in promoting STEM fields. There's a lot of reports that show that that's where a lot of the career and job growth is going. There's a lot of reports and statistics that show that students in these fields will have higher salaries. And then we're also seeing a lot of reports that show that the United States is a little bit behind some other countries in producing graduates in these fields, especially in certain fields in particular, like computer science. So there's a big surge in both in the community to try to promote STEM education with kids, but then that filters up to the university level because our job is to educate them.
Right, and so your position is Dean of STEM Outreach, Recruitment, and Retention. That's an important word there. So what is it that, how do you hold a student's interest? And sometimes I'm sure this is hard work. STEM fields aren't necessarily easy to prepare for, very worthwhile, but you do have to work out at it. So what is the secret to keeping a student interested?
Well, and I mean, I think you mentioning my title is important because when I'm with the College of Sciences, but because STEM covers engineering as well, I work really closely with a counterpart in the College of Engineering on all of our STEM outreach. And part of it, the outreach part, is getting out into the community, promoting education in STEM fields, making sure kids understand it, that they feel passionate about it. There's a lot of stereotypes that science is hard, and kids will sort of self-select out of those fields pretty early on. So we think it's really important to get into the community and meet with kids as young as we possibly can to sort of get them interested in this and show them hands-on what it's like. The recruitment part is obviously try to get more of the students, to UNO in those fields, but the retention is the trickier part as well, because these degrees are difficult. We have, a lot of students have problems in particular with math and biology. So at UNO, we've been developing some new programs to try to help students that are in sciences and engineering, in particular in the math and biology fields, to make sure that they get a little bit of extra support, that they know that there's tutoring services, there's programs for them to have hands-on research experience. One of my favorite ones is a program that we started a couple summers ago that I think is really important. It's called the STEM Scholars Program. And so it's for students that have applied to UNO and they're coming in as freshmen. And it's a hard transition from being a high school student to a university student. And a lot of students don't realize that the expectations are a lot higher. So that's, we don't like to call it a boot camp, but it's kind of like a boot camp. They're there for 5 days before the regular semester starts. They're going to classes. They're going to sample lectures with faculty they'll be teaching in either math or biology. They're doing tests. We bring in alumni from the different fields to talk about careers in that field. So they're getting a chance to write that first test or first exam, and it's not going to be on their grade, and they can see what the expectations are going to be like. They're going to learn how to study better, and then when they're in that class for real, they're going to do better. And then the sort of soft skill side of that comes out of a program like STEM Scholars is the students are coming in as a cohort. They're meeting other students in that field. They're all living on campus together for those 5 days. And so when they are in that class and they need a study group, they can look around the room and they have some friends that they can get together with.
Well, that's really, really good training. Very, very helpful, I'm sure, to the
Yeah.
students. I'm a UNO grad from
Great.
many decades ago.
We like to hear
And
that.
I remember all those many decades ago, the College of Sciences was really, really strong and
Yes.
continued to be over these years, and
Yeah.
helping graduate all of those folks who are needed in these science fields, including women.
Yes,
A lot. You know,
yes.
This is certainly a field for women to have interest in, and we're seeing that happen more and more. And then also, I've got to mention STEM NOLA, which does the STEM NOLA Saturdays. Dr. Calvin Mackey also is working with the young ones up through high school to get our students interested at the earliest levels in a
As
science
early
field.
as you can catch them, the better.
Yeah.
And they get, you know, kids that are 5 can be doing fun science experiments, and they get passionate about it. And then they all through, you know, K through 12, they're going to say, I'm going to be a scientist. And they, you know.
And of course, PBS has great science programming
Yes.
too, both at the children's level and then for adults. And so it really is riveting. I know I have 2 grandchildren who absolutely adore science programming. They love learning about animals and insects and bugs and about the galaxy. It's just really wonderful to see their interest grow. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, UNO, for all of its wonderful work and contribution to our community for a long time now.
Great, thank you.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
You too.
All righty. We're going to take a look again at what's going on. There you go on the floor. And this is the YouthForce NOLA Career Expo at the Senator Nat G. Kiefer University of New Orleans Lakefront Arena. And WYES New Orleans is live streaming this webcast from the expo today to share the stories of industry and educational leaders helping the high school students of today become career ready for the high wage, high demand jobs of the future. This Career Expo is focusing specifically on 3 industries: health sciences, digital media IT, and the skilled crafts. And on the floor of the arena, the skilled craft industries have interactive career stations set up. We know that, we've been hearing them. And all around the arena, students are learning about health sciences and digital media and IT jobs that you've been seeing throughout our webcast. These 3 sectors are projected to produce 70,000 new jobs over the next decade. Today's YouthForce NOLA Career Expo aims to create opportunities for high school sophomores to learn about the pathways to career success. And Greater New Orleans, Inc. is a co-presenter of YouthForce NOLA Career Expo along with Junior Achievement of New Orleans. And we're joined by Nashawn Johnson of Greater New Orleans,
Hi.
Inc. Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure meeting you. So tell us, why did you guys get involved with this?
Well, we work closely with YouthForce NOLA and Junior Achievement on a variety of different initiatives. And so for us, this Career Expo is super important because it gives students the opportunity to learn about the various job opportunities available in the Greater New Orleans region. We want students to know that there are so many jobs that are available, and so many that they may not even be privy to. Right. And so for us, we just wanted to make sure we made that connection and make sure they know that, you know, there are high demand jobs that are available, high wage jobs that they have access to right in their own backyard.
And so tell us about Greater New Orleans, Inc.
Sure. So Greater New Orleans, Inc. is a economic development agency representing the 10 parish region of Southeast Louisiana. We basically help to improve business relations and business conditions in the Greater New Orleans region through initiatives in the workforce, through initiatives in policy and research.
And so you guys really do take a look closely at what the needs are in our workforce, present and then also in terms of the future. So what are you finding out?
And so what we see is that there are a large number of jobs that are going to be coming online in the sectors that we have represented here today. So in health sciences, in IT, in digital media, in skilled crafts. And so we're seeing that there are going to be a large number of digital media jobs, like I said, in all of these industries. And these jobs will be high demand, high wage jobs. These are jobs that we want students to be privy to. We see that, just thinking about the recent announcement with DXC Technology, right, and how they'll be bringing on 2,000 jobs in the next few years. These are 2,000 jobs that these students will have a connection to if they enter into like the STEM world. And so we just want to make sure that these jobs, that they are aware of these types of things that will be going on, because like you said, in the next few years, there are going to be thousands upon thousands of jobs that will be entering online based on our research.
So do you guys work to try to match, business leaders out there, businesses, industry, with students so that students can observe and kind of get an idea firsthand?
Absolutely. What we find is helpful is we try to work with our education partners. And so, like I said, people like Junior Achievement, people like YouthForce, we try to connect them with our higher education institutions, and we try to connect them with our industry partners. Because what we find is when these people are all in a room together, that's when we are building out curriculum to make sure will make sure that students are ready for this current workforce. And so we try to basically bring everybody in the room together, because then that's when the conversation is starting. So they say, okay, this is what the demand is. How can we meet that demand with our current students?
And doing something like this, and then the work that you just generally do, are you guys encouraged about what you're seeing
Absolutely, absolutely. Like just even being here right now, you see all the interest drumming up with students. They're going to the different booths. They're going to the construction booths. They're going to the IT booths. They're looking at virtual reality. They're learning about a wide breadth of opportunities that they didn't even know existed. And so they're saying, wow, this is really cool. This is something I can do. And that's what we want for them, because so many times you hear often that students say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be things like that. And of course that's amazing, those are great roles, but there's so many great opportunities beyond those things. And so if they're exposed to it, then they'll know. And then they think and actually go into college and say, hey, I want to go into construction management, or I want to go into digital media. They are exposed to a wide variety of these jobs.
So through this kind of encouragement of students, showing them really what they can do, I know that the hope is that students will indeed stay in school.
Absolutely, yes.
Because that has been a real concern, is graduation rates. We are seeing it improve here locally and certainly at the statewide level and nationally. It's been a real push to improve our graduation rates. So having something like this and the work that you do, are you seeing that kids are sort of wanting to stick to it? They see the need for education and the purpose for education more?
I think so, yes. I think it's important when we expose children not only to the 4-year colleges, but also to the 2-year colleges and the technical schools that are out there. Because once they realize, hey, maybe 4-year education is not necessarily for me, but there's so many different things I can do beyond that that will allow me to get the training that I need to enter into the workforce. I think once we kind of do that, then kids steer the course. Otherwise, if they feel like there's only one track available for them, then they say, well, this isn't my area, so I'm not going to do this. So we try to kind of expose them to the wide breadth of, education opportunities available to them.
Are businesses really becoming a little bit more involved, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. One of our greatest goals is to connect businesses to the various education partners we work with. We even with YouthForce's internship program, we try to connect businesses and say, look, here's an opportunity to come to this expo. Here's an opportunity to host the intern. Here's an opportunity to teach them about the various things that are going on with your employee. And so when we do that, when those connections are made, then that allows them to see, okay, there are cool things that are going on in schools, and we can be a part of that in various ways. And so we kind of try to make those connections.
So business is really sort of coming together a little bit more, different businesses and industry to reach out to our kids,
Absolutely.
It seems like. And that's what an example is right here.
Yes, definitely.
It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks
so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a look at our floor again and see what's going on. There are students milling around. I think they're going to be here, for about 2 or 3 more hours, I think. So once again, this is the second year of this YouthForce NOLA Career Expo, and it's here at the Senator Nat G. Kiefer University of New Orleans Lakefront Arena. And today, throughout the course of the day, 2,400 high school sophomores from 19 New Orleans public schools are going to be moving through all of these career stations. Either they're down on the floor or sort of in the mezzanine. If you've been to the UNO Arena, it's the area where you would be able to go get your popcorn or chips or beer or whatever if you're here to see a game. Right now there are career stations set up all around, and students are checking them out. They're looking at what is the potential for a future career in some high demand, high-wage jobs that are in our area. Jobs in construction, the jobs there remain one of those high-demand and high-wage jobs. And joining us is Kyle Condon, the Chief Construction Officer of Landis Construction, which is a family-owned business. that's been here in the New Orleans area, and you see signs all over the place, Landis Construction. You guys have been in business for, what, 6 decades, about 60 years or so now?
Yes, ma'am. Obviously not me. I have not worked that long in my career yet, but...
No, you haven't, but I could have. But so you guys are here today, talking to kids about the field of construction and the need for it. So let's talk about that right now. I mean, we see so much construction going on around this area, particularly post-Katrina. Just what is the construction field like these days?
It's getting harder to find good skilled labor. As a general contractor, we're responsible for executing the delivery of these projects. So our subcontractors rely heavily on the skilled tradesmen and women, and I think it's very important that we tap into the youth in the local high schools early, like they're doing with this event, because they need to understand that there are career opportunities out there to make decent money and wages with great retirement packages and insurance and everything else that everyone desires in the workforce. And we aren't going to continue to build at the pace with which we're developing and prospering and growing if we don't have the workforce. It's really driving up competition right now.
So when you're talking about the field of construction, just to describe to us, what could students potentially take a look into, perhaps doing within that field of construction?
Well, there's so many programs right now in the local area for integrating students into the industry. So you have ACE Mentorship, which is kind of exposing students to architectural, construction, engineering related fields and jobs. For construction specific, the best thing they can do is get hands-on experience. They can work in the field as a laborer. If they've never worked before, they can be partnered with some more seasoned and mentoring carpenters or foremen. They can work in the office. We have participated in the YouthForce NOLA internship program for the past 2 years now. The first year we hired one intern, and he was so good that we invited him after he graduated high school to work for us last summer, and we hired another YouthForce NOLA intern last summer. They have different paths. One has chosen the field, the first student chose the field, and he continues to work for us in the summers, and we're happy to have him. He's really learning and growing, and he's already in college. The other one is, I believe she'll be a senior this year, and she wanted to work in the office and get some administrative experience, some filing. With it, especially as a general contractor, we have legal departments, we have insurance, we have human resources, accounting, all the things that are necessary for good business acumen and experience. Everything from answering the phones to interacting, networking, and socializing with others, understanding business communications, setting an intern up with a work email and asking them to send files and explaining what is and is not appropriate for that type of thing, which again, YouthForce NOLA program has done a nice job of preparing them with the softer skills that are required.
Because they go through a training program, don't they, before they go into their internship?
Yes, ma'am.
With YouthForce NOLA.
They do some soft skills training well in advance of the day that we have as employers, we have an interview day, and we meet and greet. Some of the students have their own business cards made up. It's real. It's sad that you don't see this throughout the country, everywhere. I think this city's doing a really good job of nurturing the process, but they're recognizing the need.
The need for it, yeah. So in the construction field too, it interests me that there's a college degree you can get actually in construction management. I don't know if a lot of folks are even aware of that.
So that's the path I took. I started in the field in high school. My first job, I rode a bicycle to a job site near my house. I ended up graduating high school, going to LSU, and I actually enrolled in the construction department. It's actually through the College of Engineering. It's a construction management degree program, and I graduated from LSU. And there is a program that is specifically geared to project management, construction management, supervision, brings in some of the engineering side and the business management skills that are necessary. One thing I try to translate to the children that are out here in these career days and these career fairs is that I don't believe college is for everyone, and I think it's great if someone wants to pursue that. But I did it, my brother did it, many of my coworkers have. We also have a great success rate in this industry that it's not a prerequisite to have a college degree or education to make it to make a successful career out of this industry. So there is a field skilled trades craft program. As a member of Associated Builders and Contractors, we have a training campus just down the road past the airport in St. Rose, and we have a state-of-the-art welding, carpentry, electrical instrumentation, pipe fitting, plumbing, carpentry. I think I said that, but I think there's a parallel path. I think my son, I'm going to try to encourage my 2 sons to learn a trade and still pursue their college degree, and that way there's a fallback plan. Because at the end of the day, even as this industry is progressing with technology, computers and software and clouds, someone's got to hold a hammer, drive a nail, hold a screw gun, operate the crane.
It can be very, very hard work, sure. But it can be very satisfying work, because just a personal example, WYES, we've just expanded our station, a beautiful new studio, and those of us who were in the first phase of the building, we were able to watch the second phase grow. And it was fascinating watching the pile driving, just watching the concrete being poured, just watching it grow, seeing the hard work that's involved with it, and just the skill and the talent that is involved with it. So it has to be a very satisfying field.
I think that's what attracts me and many others to this industry is, the concrete evidence of our work. There's a real tangible product at the end. If we were working in the accounting field, we might not see that as much with a tax return, but lawyers are very successful. They win cases, which is glorious. Not every lawyer is a courtroom attorney. What we try to do is, celebrate these projects. When we finish a job as a team, we take that team and go celebrate with a dinner. I mean, for years we can drive by and see what we've done in the city.
Absolutely, it's there.
Yes,
it's a
ma'am.
testament to your talent and skill. So if students are interested, or anybody watching, a parent or guardian, grandparent, are interested in maybe letting their kid know about the possibility of getting into this field and maybe even interning with you guys, what should they do? Get in touch with you? Get in touch with YouthForce NOLA? Do you sort of do it
Well,
that
I would
way?
definitely recommend the YouthForce NOLA route, because they are, again, preparing these children. It's not fair to send a child, and I say a child, but an adolescent, to a company. It's very intimidating to go to we're in a 3-story building off of Earhart Boulevard in New Orleans. But I wouldn't expect them to just take it upon themselves at 16 or 17 years old to come ask for an application.
Yeah.
I think they need a little guidance as to resume writing, interviewing skills, how to dress for those engagements, and any program, ACE mentorship, YouthForce NOLA, I would encourage them to pursue that. Now, if their school doesn't offer it, and I believe, based on the numbers I've seen today, it seems like almost every school in the city is involved. But if it's not, certainly contacting Landis Construction. Our website is www.landisllc.com, and all of our contact information, phone numbers are on there, and we are local, so they can certainly, I'm not discouraging them from dropping by and asking for an application. I would be very impressed if they did.
But YouthForce NOLA is really playing a big part now in helping prepare the students, like you said, get into internships, which gives them then a better idea of perhaps what they can do with their lives.
Well, they've come a long way, just like we have as a company. When they first started, I think they may have stumbled a year or two before we got involved. The year we got involved, we were impressed, but the next year, the second year, which was last year, we were more impressed. So they're getting better, and I think they're identifying and pairing students with appropriate employers, candidates for employment, or industries. They're helping these students kind of identify what they want to do. The last thing we want is someone to come work on a job site that doesn't want to work on a possibly outdoor job, or a labor-intensive job, or we don't want them necessarily coming to work in our office if they'd rather go be a lifeguard or something. So we want to make sure that those pairings are happening, and I think in an environment like this, that's where it's taking place.
Well, it's all about letting our students know what opportunities are out there and how they could pursue them. I thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for participating in this.
Appreciate it. Well, we're honored to be here. Thank you.
It's our pleasure to have you here too. I think we're going to say goodbye right now and wrap up our webcast, which we've been doing for over an hour or so. I've lost track of the time. Here from the Kiefer Arena, the Lakefront Arena of the University of New Orleans on its East campus. We've been really happy to bring this to you, the YouthForce NOLA Career Expo. And we thank YouthForce NOLA and also Junior Achievement for working with us to provide this to you. We thank you guys for watching. I also want to thank our wonderful producer, Paula Pendarvis, who made this look so easy, and it's really not an easy thing to do. And our tech guys also, of course, Rob and Will, and our camera folks here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, it's YouthForce NOLA. If you want more information, you can just go to their website and find out all of the services that they offer to the young people of New Orleans. Also, we have to give a big thanks to Baptist Community Ministries. Because of their wonderful support, we're able to bring you this webcast and so many other important programs that we've brought to you on WYES, and will continue to do so. And of course, Baptist Community Ministries supports so many organizations in town in the field of health and education and public safety to make our community better and healthier. Thanks so much for watching, and this will be archived so you can see it again anytime at WYES.org. And of course, we really thank you for your support of WYES. Have a good day.